Duffy.
Here.
Sherman.
Here.
Booth.
Here.
Ms. Sonic.
Okay, the purpose of tonight's meeting is to interview and be asked questions from city council. There's no citizens comment tonight, so let's go with it. Who wants to be first? Mr. Ryan, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Right there is fine.
Right, well, I submitted this letter,
Mhm.
application to you folks in the city. But, I live at 108 Jefferson Street, where Washington hits Jefferson by the tree line. The next door neighbor has to hit Pine Tree on that. I've been there in December 5 years. And I lived here in the 78 and 80 when I went to Hopkins College. So I've been around Nelsonville since 78. And I really like the community, and I've been working to try to improve things and improve my property. And I thought I might be able to be a positive addition to the council. And I was collecting signatures to get on the ballot in November. I had half or 40 signatures and I lost them. I left them laying down the south end of town when I was getting signatures, so I went back. Anyhow, I won't be on the ballot.
You
Not November, but I'd like to fill this position until November, or whenever it's over with. So thank you. Any questions?
Ms. Sonic?
I already know what you do for the city.
I'm doing it, why can't?
What do you see as what your priorities would be on council?
Well, just making sure whatever is the highest priority thing gets addressed. And there's a few things I think are priorities that I would like to see addressed, but I will only introduce that if I get on council. But I'm just trying to make improvements for the city, wherever I can fit it.
Thank you,
Sherman?
thank you, Robert, for the beautiful flowers.
Oh, thank you.
So, Mr. Ryan, if there's one thing that you could change in the city, what would it be?
Just for everybody to get together and concentrate on priority items that the council sees needs addressed.
Mr. Taylor?
What would you say your strengths would be that you would bring to council?
Well, with my background, I know a lot about natural resources and land management and soil and, trees, all that kind of thing. So I would be probably more concerned about how the city looks, from trees to plants, and then keeping it clean and improving what we have with the resources we have.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Do you have any questions for council?
Not really. I just like to see y'all get along together and work towards improving the city, whatever the needs are.
Okay, any more questions for Mr. Ryan? Okay, who wants to be next?
Take my gum out of my mouth. Let me stand over here.
All right.
I want to stand my. My name is Jonathan Flowers. I guess I'm already on the council for next year. But I grew up in Nelsonville, of course. I think everybody knows it. I grew up on the east end, down on Walnut Street. Lived there until I was about 30 years old. Moved down to Texas and ran a lot of businesses. So I feel like one of my strengths would be problem solving. And and I think I said this when I stood up before, in front of council for another seat. I think problem solving is something that you have to be able to do what you're sitting here doing. You can't just pretend like something ain't happening. You gotta go after it, you gotta solve the problem, then move on to the next problem. I saw Tony at the parade, and he was in a truck with a couple of the other candidates that are running. So I kind of felt like this was a moot point, me standing here for this position, because one of the people he was in the truck with was Mr. Childs. So I think that just to go on would be useless for me to do. So I would like to thank you for your time, and I'll see you in November.
Does that mean you're retiring, John? Does that mean?
No, I just think it's
Oh, I
already
see-
made, the
I
mind's
see.
already made up.
Gotcha, okay.
Any questions for Mr. Flowers? Ms. Holly? Mr. Booth? I have no. Mr. Sherman?
No, I do agree with him. This choice was made weeks ago.
Mr.
My question was answered already, Mr. Strang.
Mr. Clement?
No. I don't have any questions.
Okay, Mr. Childs?
I'll assume the position. For those of you in the room that don't know me, my name is Doug Childs. I was previously on council last year until some personal matters came up that made it ineffective for me to be as effective as I wanted to be on the council. But those issues have been resolved, and with the blessing of the council and the good people of Nelsonville, I would like to resume my role on city council and continue with some of the initiatives that we have started before I left. For those of you who don't know my background, I'm a 30-year military retiree. All of my experience is in leadership development, planning and operations management, resource management, compliance oversight. My time at the Reserve Officer Training Corps at the Ohio State University as the military science leadership instructor put me in contact with a lot of diverse people, a lot of diverse ideas. As a sergeant major, my role was to bring different viewpoints and different people from different backgrounds to the table and do those problem-solving techniques that Mr. Flowers talked about. One of the weaknesses that I have seen in council over the last year is its inability to get along. And I would hope that we could all get together, work together as a team, and address these issues that need to be resolved here in the city. I'm all about improving the infrastructure. I'd like to see what we can do to encourage economic development and outside investment, and to support the services that the city provides for the community in an efficient and an effective manner that is fiscally responsible. Because I believe the government is accountable to the people, and transparency is important, and this council needs to be transparent and fiscally responsible.
That, great.
And if there's anything I can do to help push that train down the road, I'm all in.
Any questions for Mr. Childs? Ms. Holly?
No.
Mr. Booth?
What would your priorities be if you were to join council?
Well, there's a number of initiatives that we started before I left that I think we need to pick up. The fire department has some infrastructure issues that need to be addressed, and I've asked the chief, if I do get back on council, to provide a plan on what he would like to do to make those improvements. So I'd like to start there. We need to finish the sewer project, obviously. The streets and the utilities, we need to work on that, because a lot of the infrastructure that you can drive down any street here in Nelsonville and see that it needs work. There's some revitalization that needs to take place. So those would be the major areas of concern that I would have. Let's open up the budget, see what we can do with what we have, make sure that we're operating within our means, and get with it.
Mr. Sherman?
Pass.
If there's one thing in Nelsonville that you could change, what would that be?
The tenor of the public discourse as it pertains to City Hall. If we could remain civil and professional with each other and not let our emotions dictate our decisions and our responses, I think that would go a long way in becoming more efficient and more effective.
Mr. Taylor?
What strengths do you think that you would bring to council?
Problem solving and compliance oversight. I do audits for the federal government, so I know how to follow the money to see where it's going, see who's using it, making sure that the right money is being placed in the right places for the right reasons.
Mr. Clement?
Yeah, do you have any questions for council?
I really don't. I think they've all been answered here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, with that, do we have any motions for nomination?
I motion for Mr. Childs.
Second that. Okay, call the roll. Any other motions for anyone else?
I'll motion John Flowers, as futile as it'll be.
Go ahead. Call the roll, ma'am.
We
For-
second, first of all. and
Need a
then-
second for him, yes.
we can second that. Second.
Call the roll for Mr. Childs, if you would.
Okay, Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Dumpy,
Yes.
Mr. Sherman,
No,
Mr. Booth,
Yes.
Ms. Sonic? Yes. Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Okay. There it is. All right, congratulations, Mr. Child. All right, and with that, motion to go into executive session, ORC 121-22, to discuss legal and personnel matters.
So,
Want to invite in Mr. Childs?
Inviting in Mr. Child.
can we be in those meetings? He hasn't been sworn in yet.
He's not moving.
Why don't you swear him in first? Can you do that?
Attorney.
We have to have the attorney here.
Or you
Oh, you have
can
to
wait
have the
until the
attorney?
next meeting.
Well, would we be allowed to go in?
Thank you, Mr. Ryan.
Exactly.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Trying to rush it.
Thank you.
Bye, Robert.
Mr. Childs.
Thanks for the work you do.
Thank you, Robert.
You're welcome. It's worth it.
Thanks.
I second that.
Mr. Dumpy,
Yes.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes.
Ms. Sonic?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what was
To
on.
go into executive.
Yes.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
All right, let's go in the room and it won't take very long.
No time.
May I ask
Time
a
is
question before we do this?
7:13.
May I ask a question before we do this?